267-495-4866 is our voicemail line, or Doug Karns Program at gmail.com is our email. It is the Doug Karns Program here on All Noise Radio. I am your host, Doug Karns, alongside Alex Bruckner, or AJ as we like to call him. All right, so let's just finish up. We've been chatting the entire night, but let's just get back to the debate real quick. And Romney kind of goes on about Social Security and Medicare, and we'll roll that right here.
Just before this campaign began, you said you were surprised that the press in the last campaign didn't press for more specifics on how to fix Social Security and Medicare. So let's fix that tonight. Let me ask you specifically, would you reduce the cost of these programs by raising the retirement age for Social Security, by raising the eligibility age for Medicare, or by reducing benefits for seniors with higher incomes?
Let me lay it out. First of all, for the people who are already retired or 55 years of age and older, nothing changes. It's very important because I know the Democrats are going to be showing videos of old people being thrown off cliffs and so forth. But don't forget who it was
That's awesome.
that cut Medicare by $500 billion. And that was President Obama to pay for Obamacare. So let's not forget that. What I would do with Social Security is that I would lower, if you will, the 2.0, the version for the next generations coming up. I'd lower the rate of inflation growth in the benefits received by higher income recipients and keep the rate as it is now pretty high for lower income recipients. And I'd also add a year to two to the retirement age under Social Security.
All right. Everybody knows my stance on Social Security. One day I hope we don't have it, or at least if we keep it, it should be what it was meant to be back in the 30s, SSI, Social Security Insurance, where the life expectancy at the time when they created the Social Security program was, I think, 59 and 62 for women, 59 for men. So they said if you reach 65, you're a very lucky person, because nobody usually reaches 65. So we'll give you some money to till the day you die, which usually is going to be closer to 65 than not. But now our life expectancy is almost at 76 or something like that, and people are using Social Security as a retirement plan, which is obviously draining the system of its money.
But I don't even think people in our generation even know what Social Security is, what it's meant for. I think a lot of us think that it is a retirement plan.
It's not. It's insurance. It was supposed to be in case you live to a certain age,
or if you are in a situation where you have a couple kids and you can't, anyone can file for it nowadays, it seems, and it doesn't make any sense.
So I'm fine keeping Social Security, but raise it to 80 or 81 or something like that. Where the point where, hey, if you live that long, obviously you're getting pretty old, so we'll give you some kickback to just...
And there's no reason you cannot work till... you see the greeters at Walmart, they're 97 years old. I don't see why you can't...
It's tough to get a job now. I feel like...
And that's where it's going to be difficult is...
Right now, it's, people, especially that age, people are being discriminated probably because jobs are hard to come by, so they're going to hire somebody younger that might be more dependable, or that they think might be dependable. Because there's a lot of good, hardworking people that are pretty old. My grandfather is 80-something, years old, and he still works, and he's, still able to produce in the economy. So, most people, I'm not saying everybody, I'm saying most people are still able to work.
But once you get to the bottom of it, and you realize that why does the government why is Social Security in place, and what's the government's role in funding your retirement?
Your retirement's supposed to be on you, not on the government.
Yeah, until you put that responsibility back on the people, and for them to understand, I gotta be able to make a living where I'm going to be able to retire or continue working, and I'm not going to have to rely on the government once I hit 65 and be on their payroll.
Yeah, we were talking off air before we came to the show that we just think some people think that just because you work, you deserve the best.
I worked hard.
Yeah. No, you don't deserve the best. You only deserve the best if you earn the best.
But I worked hard.
It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Some people, I'm probably going to be one of those people that I'm going to work hard all my life, and I might not get the best, but I'm sure going to enjoy life along the way. But Social Security is not there for you to kick back, on a beach and enjoy yourself. I mean, Social Security is so far in debt. It's just because there's so many people on it and there's not enough people paying into the system.
Not according to Rachel Maddow, who I just saw her commercial the other day and said that Republicans were lying and Social Security is not bankrupt.
Wait, Rachel Maddow is a woman?
Did I say she?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just confused because she has a very deep voice and a short haircut.
Awkward.
All right, moving on. So that's just Romney. That was just my side note on Romney. He's a big government guy. He wants to keep Social Security there. He wants to raise it 2 years, to 67. Like, what's that going to do?
Can I real quick interject and make one more point? When people say any particular asset in federal government is not bankrupt, we're $15 trillion in debt. All the government, the
entire government.
It doesn't matter.
Even there's one part of government that has a surplus. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're still.
That's like saying Apple. Let's just take Apple for instance. Say the iPad, the Mac, the iPod business is all in debt. Like they're losing money on every product. They're not making money on those products. But the iPhone is actually doing pretty good. Because it's subsidized, whatever. They're actually. This is not the case because Apple's making a killing on everything. But I'm just saying, for example, this is all I know is Apple. Say those 3 products are failing horribly, but you have one product doing good and it's not making up for the other 3. You're still doing awful. Like just because you have one good thing going for you.
Or an even simpler analogy is you have 5 credit cards and each of them have a $5,000 limit or you have $5,000 of
maxed
debt
out.
Maxed out. But then you have the one credit card that doesn't have any. You still have all the other debt.
Yeah, it does not help you. It does not do you justice. And the Social Security program, I mean, you and I, AJ, we're not going to see Social Security money in 40, 50 years.
Definitely not.
It's so bankrupt that it's barely funding the people who are on it now. So people that are going to start jumping on it aren't going to get it. So anyways, that's just my random thought from Romney because he's such a big government guy. And I kind of want to move on before the show's over here to Chris Matthews, where me and Chris Matthews have had a great relationship in the past couple of years because he's just so easy to make fun of and he makes no sense at times. And this clip particularly, he makes no sense because I don't even know where he's coming from with. He says, let's just roll it. We'll come back and talk about it.
There were some pretty remarkable exchanges revealing racial attitudes, not only by the candidates, but by the audience. Chris Matthews is the host of MSNBC's Hardball and joins me now. It was really stunning watching some of it. Let me play a little bit for you of what we saw. This was an exchange between Newt Gingrich and Juan Williams, one of the co-moderators of the debate.
I got to tell you, my email account, my Twitter account has been inundated with people of all races who are asking if your comments are not intended to belittle the poor and racial minorities. You saw some of this reaction during your visit to a black church in South Carolina. It sounds as if you are seeking to belittle people.
Well, first of all, Juan, the fact is that more people have been put on food stamps by Barack Obama than any president in American history.
Now, I don't agree with Newt with a lot of things, but he's actually right on that. Because Obama actually, his administration made it easier for people to go on food stamps.
Of course, you could come up with the data to point out that we are in the worst recession in decades or coming through the worst recession and that the population has exploded. So there's a natural increase in food stamps, which are pegged to entitlements that are approved by Congress that have nothing to do with the White House.
Yeah. Well, we know what's going on. And everybody knows what's going on. And to argue with it, the problem with arguing with it is that the people who don't hear it don't want to hear it. Or they hear it and don't want to admit it. You can't argue a person into it. You can't say to a person that's code because the people that don't want to hear that it's code will say it's not. And the people who clearly hear that it's code will. It's not something you can argue with a person. There were interesting aspects to that. Wasn't there some applause when he called him Juan? I mean, it's an interesting thing here. I mean, it's very clever. I mean, Newt's a very smart guy. He knows how to play an...
Wait. So is he saying that the crowd...
Well, just keep... Did they say anything else? Because that's...
I'll keep playing it, but I guarantee you.
Audience. There was a wonderful exchange between George Herbert Walker Bush and Pete DuPont one time where he answered a question to him, and he said, "Let me help you with that one, Pierre." Now, it is his name, and Juan is his name, but there's an interesting way it's used, and to personalize it. And Juan Williams has a lot of guts getting in front of that audience, that's conservative white audience in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and asking...
So Chris Matthews is saying the entire crowd was racist last night.
Doug.
Whoa.
Sorry, the
Listen,
racist rhetoric, I really need to tone it down. I'm sorry.
Gosh, this is a family-friendly show, and you're sitting here becoming a racist on the air.
I'm sorry, Doug.
All right, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave because you can't. You do not say my name that way.
I thought this was free radio.
I mean, what is this? Does MSNBC pay Chris Matthews to come up with these ridiculous ideas?
I think it's like the writers of a comedy show. You just have people in the background coming up with stupid, just like there's stupid jokes, there's stupid rhetoric.
I know, but where do you? There was maybe one clap when he said Juan. So. Are you? First of all, he's calling him by his name. It's not like he was like, "Well, you know what, black dude." like he's calling him by Juan, but he's saying Chris Matthews here is saying, the way he said Juan, he's implying that he's he's talking to a black guy.
You know what? African American.
Yeah. Now, if Gingrich came out and said, "Listen, black guy. Okay, this is what I'm going to tell you right here." Then I would, and if the crowd clapped, I'd be like, okay, I probably don't agree with this whole debate thing if the crowd is clapping for that and Gingrich is using that kind of language.
It's ridiculous.
So, I mean, between Chris Matthews is just trying to make something out of nothing, and he's saying that the way that somebody pronounces somebody's name, you're being racist,
and it works because now it's on this show, and
yeah, it's got us talking about it, but. I mean, this is why MSNBC has nobody watching. They always finish last compared to Fox because they come up with these ridiculous ideas that were racist. Well, not we, but I'm saying that crowd was racist for, applause, which there was no applause when he said Juan.
Maybe if he just said it was, I don't know, disrespectful or whatever, make something.
For calling him his name?
But how do you even attach race to it? It just doesn't make sense.
Calling him by his first name and applauding for that, I just don't get it. Am I not seeing something? Because I'm pretty sure he's treating him with respect. Where was the disrespect coming in from? Oh, Chris Matthews. I mean, it's just so funny about how they try to make something out of nothing, out of that debate. I mean, the big headline in that video was "Race in the Race," so they're trying to make the GOP look like a bunch of old racists to Obama. I mean, and it's going to come out when somebody's finally picked for the nomination. The news is just going to start, picking out race out of certain comments that have nothing to do with race.
Well, Obama has.
I mean, he'll say
his grandmother's a typical, the typical white woman.
Yeah, which was actually on 610 WIP when during that last election he came on and said that
the typical white woman.
Yeah,
as opposed to
typical. Yeah, that's not racist. That's not racist.
No, he's just saying he's identifying she's typical.
I mean, they'll take something out of people who are on food stamps. You racist! You racist hate monger.
Why do you hate the poor?
Why do you? Why do you hate the poor people?
You just don't want to help anyone?
All right. Well, we appreciate you tuning in this week. We'll see you next week at 7 p.m. on All Noise Radio.